Hey, so we are live, which I am so excited about. Hey, y'all, welcome back to. Let's go ahead and start calling this girl Use Your Voice. It's not yet the podcast. I'm still getting that together. However, this is like the practice of it. All right. So, again, I am Shaniqua, that brand story chick, and I am, there we go. And I am going to be talking to you today about the realization that I had yesterday that actually made me tear up. I didn't cry, I didn't boo hoo because it wasn't a sad thing, but it was an understanding of how much grace I had not given myself. I had not given myself over this journey of entrepreneurship. Now, I've been at entrepreneurship for really 9 years because I started in MLM. I started in Jamberry in 2014 when I had my twins. And, I had been through an eviction once before, slept on the floor with them when they were just 4 months old while I was trying to get my furniture out of the house and, or out of the apartment. And then by grace and God and prayer and showing up, I was able to get a stay, mediate the rent, get that taken care of, and I was still in the apartment. But I was a teacher, and that meant that I was never going to have enough money to take care of my family while I took care of other people's kids. And that summer, I found myself in the same situation. So I made the plunge into entrepreneurship, but through MLM. And within a month, I made $1,000 and I was hooked. I was like, okay, so basically, there's a cap on my salary, but there's no cap on my possibilities. Okay, entrepreneurship is a thing for me. But I played with it for a little while, y'all. So I played with it for a very long time. It was a side hustle. It was something I was trying to build while having a safety net. Well, guess what? Um, what ended up happening is I burnt myself out because even dabbling leads to burnout. The other video we talked about that sandstone, that sandpaper that wears you down. That sandpaper called consistency, showing up all the time, working hard. I don't believe in hard work. I really don't. I believe in effort. I believe in work itself. I don't believe it needs to be hard. If it's hard, then you're in the wrong space. How about that? But anyway, and by the way, say hello as you pop in because I appreciate that. I like knowing that I'm not alone. And I also like knowing who I'm talking to, y'all. So don't ghost me. Don't lurk. Say hello. Anyway, so let's keep going. So the realization that happened yesterday, y'all, was something I needed. And it had actually been building this whole time. And some of y'all may have been feeling this as well. But I couldn't put my finger on what was wrong with the situation. Now, as a solopreneur, you guys know this thing isn't easy, okay? And at times it is hard, which means you're typically operating out of yourself. You're operating out of how you were made, what gifts you are supposed to be actually doing, because you're trying to do all the things. And that means you're not operating in your genius. And sometimes that means you never get to the operation of your genius, which is like your battery replenishment, right? So if you feel yourself like wearing down, being near tears, feeling out of energy, out of alignment, it's likely because you're doing all the hard stuff and not getting to any of the good stuff, the fun stuff, the things that you're actually made to do, which was my situation. So I've been watching trainings and things of that nature as I prepare to get into my own. And one of the trainings, actually several of the trainings, but one of the trainings in particular was about marketing. Now, what some of y'all may not know is that I have been applying to marketing jobs for the last month and a half because I realized I don't want to do this stuff alone. I need team members, but I can't do that without guilt on my head if I'm taking money out of the house. I've done that enough over the past 8 years of spending out of the house. I want to do things with my kids. I want to take them places. I want to show them things. I want to, do things with my kids. So I can't keep taking money out of the house. So I was actually looking for jobs so that I could hire somebody. Like I'd essentially be giving away my salary to hire someone because I know I need an administrator, I need a marketing person, and I need a tech person. Y'all, those three things have me in tears all the time, right? So I've been applying to jobs for a little bit, for a little while. And those jobs are paying quite well. Some of them $35 an hour, some of them $45 an hour, some of them $50 an hour. So in other words, anywhere from 50 to like $110,000 is what these jobs have been offering as salary. Why am I telling you this? Because the realization that came on me yesterday while watching, well, it started Friday. So Friday, I was watching a marketing webinar, masterclass training. She's, getting ready to pitch you into her, whatever it is, some 4-week training, right? So I'm watching her marketing thing, and she's telling you about all the things you have to do in marketing. And I know that that's a tactic, by the way, a persuasive, kind of messy marketing tactic of bombard people with all the things they have to do so they'd be willing to say yes to whatever you're offering that will help alleviate the stress, the frustration. Except for me, this built it and kept it there. So I'm watching her talk about marketing. I'm watching her say that you need to have an omni-channel. I'm watching her say you need to be everywhere. I'm watching her say you need to post 3 to 5 times a day. I'm watching her say that you need to create certain type of reels. You can't just show up and do things. You have to have all this intention. I'm watching the 8 steps of how to create a reel. I'm just watching all this stuff and I'm getting overwhelmed with it. So I actually took my computer and put it in the kitchen and went and watched a movie, So that's how much of a physical reaction I was having to what she was saying. But she's not the first person. And by the way, this wasn't the first time I heard her say that. And it wasn't the first time I had a reaction. And I know that she's coming from a heart space, right? Because she's like, I want you to win. I get it. I hear it. However, the realization that hit me, y'all, when I was talking to my dude yesterday was, this is literally 5 or 6 jobs. In order for me to say, and I'm going to put it up though, hold on, shameless plug. But in order for me to say, hey y'all, I'm having a challenge this Sunday called Speed Date Your Audience. If you missed it the last time, you don't want to miss it this time. Just go to bit.ly/speed date challenge, all lowercase, and then get in. So in order for me to say that to you, okay, this is, shameless plug, but at the same time, this is my illustration. In order for me to tell you, go to this link, there are 5 jobs I had to do, 5 jobs that people get paid to do. Separate people get paid to do. I told you, I've been applying to jobs. So there's the CRM management right there, right? The customer retention management or customer, whatever, email, right? So there's the email marketer, there's the copywriter, there's the graphic designer, there's the social media manager, and oh my God, what's the other job? The images, the emails, and the systems, the funnel builder, like the systems builder, whatever, the funnel builder. That's 5, y'all. That's 5 separate jobs, 5 separate jobs. And as a solopreneur who is trying to do one event, I have to do all 5 of those jobs where people get paid anywhere from $50,000 to $110,000. I have to do all 5 of those full-time jobs by myself in order to give you this link. In order for you to say, go to bit.ly/speed date challenge to join the challenge that I'm having on Sunday that is going to help you connect to your audience by using your story and to shorten the amount of time that research says you need to be touching your audience. You don't need 12 touches. You only need 1 really good touch to have somebody going, ooh, baby, yes. But in order for me to give you that link, I had to do 5 people's full-time job. And that realization brought tears to my eyes because I realized, yo, they're coming back. My eyes are stinging. But I realized in that moment that I was telling my dude that this is 5 people's job, I realized how much stress I was putting on myself to be inhuman, to be a super business person, a superwoman, to put on a freaking cape and to eat kryptonite for breakfast. Like literally 5 full-time jobs. They get paid $50,000 to $110,000 in order to give you this link. And I have to do that every single time. And I understood then the magnitude of the stress that we have allowed all these people who are operating in their geniuses, but don't realize they're in their genius. Like this woman who was talking about marketing was brilliant at marketing. Her eyes lit up about marketing. That's how you know when somebody's in their zone. Like they get the little twinkle things that you see in an anime or that you see in a Disney cartoon. They start twinkling. That's when you know they're in their zone. They're in their genius. We're not all in that genius. And so we get sucked up in their passion and their enthusiasm and just how simple they make it, even though it's overwhelming. But we have to also understand we're not the genius that they don't realize they are. Okay. And we also have to understand when people are operating in their genius. So we cannot compare themselves or ourselves to them. Right. And so case in point, I have a screenwriting teacher, screenwriting coach. I've been going to her since 2018. I took off last year. Because listen, when things get really hard, I ain't gonna lie. When things get real, real, real hard, I'll be like, listen, maybe this ain't for me. Like, maybe it ain't for me. And you know, Hollywood is so white, like hashtag for real. And it's not just, oh, let's talk about race. It really isn't. They're like Hollywood is 90% white, and most of that is male. And they do not believe in romance movies unless if it's some kind of formula. Well, I have ethnic romance movies. I have POC, I hate to use that. I like to say ethnically and culturally diverse people as my leads for romance. And I don't plug in a white person just so that I can get funding. So what that means is I've had a hard time getting funding. I had a producer who was, and she's a named producer. She's in the PGA and she has friends, but she was still having a hard time raising $750,000 for this movie. And the movie honestly is $3 million. Because I've already had the numbers crunched, but because she has friends, she's able to bring it down. She was having a hard time raising $750,000 for this movie because it's a hard time to get in there, right? So I was like, oh, maybe I can't, whatever, and I just took a break from that. So to bring it back though, so I have the screenwriting coach and she is a genius at it. She sees the mathematics, the techniques, the science behind screenwriting. It's AZ Yeaman of Bridge 17. Watching her eyes twinkle. She's in her genius. And I used to compare myself to her. Like, why can't I get it as easily as she could? She would say, like, do you see that? Do you see that? Okay, this movie repeats every 10 minutes. They do this cycle every 10 minutes, and I could never see it. And then one day, while watching her, I went, this is your zone of genius. This is her zog, right? So this is her zone of genius. I will never be as good at dissecting as she is. And so she could write very, very quickly because to her, it's a formula. Let's go. Let's get it done. And so when people are operating in their zone of genius, we cannot compare ourselves to them. It's like when I'm talking about story, I will tell people how easy it is because to me, it is super easy. I've been breathing stories since I was a kid. I've fallen in love with stories from Nina and Cricket days, like sitting and watching Young and Restless with my grandma and my auntie. But I more fell in love with storytelling when During Halloween, one of those librarians or storytellers came to our school and sat on stage, just her and this stool. And she told us these spooky, scary stories. And I fell in love with storytelling because I saw how she had the entire crowd wrapped around her finger, including me sitting on the edge of my seat, wanting to know where this story would go. And then when that plot twist came, we would all sit back in shock and be like, what, wow, and elicit a response. I fell in love with storytelling then. I fall in love with storytelling over and over and over again when I watch speakers move with genius. But that said, I understand there are people who are great at pitching, people who are great at the elevator part of the storytelling. I will never be that good because one thing I'm not a genius at, y'all, is shortening things. I cannot shorten. I am not a summarizer. Listen, this was supposed to be a 10-minute video. It's 15 minutes right now. We're really about to wrap up. But that's what I want you to understand is that, or come to the understanding that I came to. Yesterday, last video, it was about consistency, how consistency is really about capacity, about finding a rhythm that fits you and your capabilities. But also, I need you to not compare yourself to people who operate in their zone of genius and to understand, y'all, if you are a solopreneur, you're doing this shit by yourself, solo. Okay. And if you are doing the job of many people. Like I said, just to give you that link, that was 5 people's full-time jobs. 5 people full-time jobs. For me to be able to say, go to bit.ly/speed date challenge. Give yourself grace. Take a step at a time. One thing that I do understand is I'm going to have to do this challenge again and again and again until I get it where I need it to be. Because every time I leave something out or I lose something or I'm not perfect enough for me. But I know I'm going to do it again in a couple weeks, but it'll be paid at that time. So y'all, if you want to get in for free, go to bit.ly/speed date challenge. But the next time I do it, it's paid. And the time I do after that, it's going to be paid and cost more. And the time I'll do it after that, it's going to be paid and cost more. So what I'm telling you is this: grace, space, allow yourself to grow. It will happen. It will happen. But you are not 5 or 6 people. Don't compare yourself to people in their zone of genius and take one step at a time. One step at a time. You'll get there. I guarantee it. All right. That's it, y'all. Love you much. But again, go to bit.ly/speed date challenge because you don't want to miss it. Bye, y'all. Bye, Facebook. Bye, Instagram.